All right, ready to dive in. Looks like we've got another really interesting set of stuff about the Faroe Islands to dig into.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing how much is always happening, even on a small group of islands in the middle of the Atlantic.
Seriously. This time I see we've got like news articles, some cultural things, even some sports updates, and ooh, can't forget the weather, right?
Of course, gotta have the weather.
Okay, well, first up, I saw those municipal elections finally wrapped up.
Yeah, most of the councils are all set.
But a few are still sorting things out, huh?
It does happen from time to time, but some of these situations are pretty interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Like in Vagar, that took a while, didn't it?
it did. But the council finally got a coalition together. The incumbent mayor actually teamed up with another party.
Hmm. Wonder how that's going to work out long term.
Time will tell. But speaking of interesting situations,
Guvoy.
exactly, there's an investigation going on,
Voting.
Yeah, potential irregularity. So everyone's kind of waiting to see what happens with that.
Oh, for sure. That's going to be a big one. But switching gears completely here, saw some pretty sad news at a Hyundai's big factory.
Oh, yeah. The accident.
Yeah, 3 people died during some kind of car test in a testing chamber.
It's a terrible tragedy. Hyundai's already made a public apology about it, and I'm sure there'll be a full investigation to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, hopefully they can get to the bottom of it. Now, this next one is, well, it's kind of a mystery, isn't it?
I mean, the undersea cable.
Yeah, the one between Finland and Germany got cut somehow.
And nobody seems to know why yet. It's definitely raising a lot of questions. Could just be an accident, of course. But you never know, right? Could be something intentional.
Yeah, those cables are pretty important these days. Speaking of things that are important, but maybe not in a good way, there's a report about, uh, well, executions in Saudi Arabia
Yeah, that number really jumped this year, didn't it?
from 34 to 101.
Wow.
It's just, a reminder that things are really different around the world.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the war in Ukraine is still going on. Russia launched another big attack just recently.
It just feels like it's been going on forever.
I know. Just hope it ends soon. Okay, well, bringing things a little closer to home for a sec. Anyone driving in the Faroes, be careful out there, okay?
Sounds like the roads are pretty slippery.
Yeah, that winter weather is coming in strong this year. All right, enough of the serious stuff. Let's talk about something fun. How about some Faroes culture?
Sounds good to me.
First up, good news for all the film fans. The national broadcaster is going to be showing a bunch of Faroes films over the next few weeks.
That's great. Those are always so interesting.
Totally. And if you're more into visual art, there's an exhibition happening in Haven.
Oh, right, by John Magnus Johnson.
It's from the 22nd to the 26th of November at, hold on, let me get the name right, Smijing I Lidlovik.
Nice. I love his work. He's so good at, capturing the feeling of nature.
I know what you mean. Then this is kind of cool. There's this book series called Vensel.
I've heard of that. Is there a
Yeah.
new one out?
Yeah, Vensel 23.
Yeah.
It's like a mix of all kinds of writing poems, stories, essays, translations.
It's a really good way to experience, like, the variety of Pharaoh's literature.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of new things, the play Quisling is finally premiering.
Wow, they've been working on that for ages, haven't they?
3 years. Can you imagine?
Must be so excited to finally see it on stage.
Me too. All right, ready for a sports break?
Hit me with it. Well, the Faroe Islands national football team, they didn't have the best luck this time.
Against North Macedonia, right?
Yeah,
They lost 1-0.
Oh, too bad. I did see they changed up their starting lineup for that one.
Oh, right, yeah.
Do you think that had anything to do with the outcome? I mean, I'm no football expert, but
It's hard to say. Really, football is such a, complex game, a lot of factors.
yeah, true, true. Okay, well, moving on to something a little more positive. I saw Hungi Igelstoft Nielsen won the Blitz Chess FM.
Yes, he did it again. He's so good at blitzes. It's really impressive.
Speed and strategy all in one.
Exactly. I wonder if he'll go for the Triple Crown next year. The what?
The Triple Crown. It's when you win all 3 FM titles, classical, rapid, and blitz in the same year.
Wow, that's a thing.
It is. It's like the ultimate chess achievement in the Faroes.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that next year.
Mhm.
Speaking of competitions, H71, that's the handball team, right?
Yep, that's them.
They got knocked out at the European Cup.
Sadly, yes. But hey, getting to the European Cup is a huge deal in itself. Handball's really popular in the Faroes.
To make sense. It must be pretty exciting to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we jump into the weather, I wanted to go back to those elections for a sec.
Oh, yeah. What about them?
Well, those coalitions in Vagar, the ones we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
they got me thinking, could this be like I don't know, A sign of things to come in Faroese politics, I mean.
That's an interesting question. The fact that the mayor had to team up with another party to get a majority, maybe it does say something.
Like, what do you think it says?
Well, maybe it means there's going to be more like cooperation between the different parties. Or maybe it means they're trying to hold on. How do I put this? Trying to avoid too much change, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean, stability.
Exactly. And it'll be interesting to see like what kind of policies this new council focuses on.
Right, what are their priorities? What about Skúvoy, though? Any updates on that investigation?
I haven't seen anything new, but even the fact that there's an investigation, it shows how seriously they take elections there.
That's true.
Yeah,
Transparency is pretty important.
especially in a place like the Faroe Islands, where, well, it's a small community, everyone knows everyone.
You don't want things getting, shady.
Exactly.
Okay, enough about elections. I'm ready for something a little lighter.
Me too. What y'all got?
Well, remember that series of Faroese films we mentioned?
The ones on the national broadcaster?
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm really curious about those. Always love a good movie, and it's a chance to, experience another culture.
I know what you mean. It's like a window into a different world, right?
Totally. And speaking of art, that exhibition by John Magnus Johnson, have you ever seen his stuff in person?
I have actually. He's got a real talent for like capturing the beauty of the Faroe Islands, the landscapes, the light. It's all there.
Yeah, I've heard he's really good. And that location, Smirjan Litlevik, I've never been there, have you?
I have actually. It's a cool spot, kind of tucked away, you know?
Yeah.
But definitely worth checking out.
Maybe we should do a deep dive field trip.
Haha, we should. Now, Venzel 23, you mentioned you were curious about it.
Oh, yeah. I've never read any of those Wenzel books before.
Oh, you should. They're great.
Right.
It's like imagine a collection of voices, all from the Faroe Islands.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool.
And each volume has different stuff, poems, stories, even essays. It's a great way to like sample Faroe's literature.
So it's not just one author.
Nope, lots of different writers, both new and established.
Oh, that makes sense. And then, of course, there's the Quisling play. Can't believe it took them 3 years to make that happen.
Right. What a journey that must have been for them.
I'm really curious, what made them decide to tell that story?
Well, Quisling is, he's a pretty controversial figure, right?
Yeah, not exactly a hero.
So choosing to focus on him, it kind of suggests they're trying to, spark a conversation.
Maybe challenge some assumptions.
Exactly.
Sure.
I bet it's a powerful piece of theater.
Can't wait to see what people think of it. All right, one last thing before we wrap up.
You mean the weather?
Yeah, gotta know what to expect if we're going to visit the Faroes.
Haha, for sure. So, looks like it's going to be a proper Faroes winter this week. Get ready for some snow. It's supposed to snow for the next few days, and then after that, some strong winds are coming in.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds like, I guess, pretty typical for this time of year in the Faroes, huh?
Pretty much. But hey, that just means it's the perfect time to, stay inside and get cozy.
Right. Curl up with a good book, maybe?
Exactly. Or, watch one of those Faroes films we were talking about.
Great idea. Well, I think that about covers it for this deep dive.
I think so. We've talked about everything from, elections to art to handball.
I forget the undersea cable mystery.
No, yeah, and that. And of course, the sad news from the Hyundai factory.
Right. It's always a mix of things, isn't it?
It really is. But I think it's important to, pay attention to it all, both the good and the bad.
I agree. And for our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of what's going on in the Faroe Islands right now.
Yeah, it's such a unique place. I always find it fascinating to see how, global events affect them, but also how they maintain their own, distinct culture and way of life.
It's a good reminder that there's always more to learn about the world, even in places that seem far away.
Definitely. So keep exploring, keep asking questions.
And keep diving deeper. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next time.